LinkedIn is one of the last places where simple, valuable content can outperform fancy production. In this video, I'm going to break down exactly how to get started creating content on LinkedIn without overthinking it, without burning out, and without feeling like you need to be some kind of big-time influencer. I'll show you the easiest formats to start with, how to test and experiment without stressing about the algorithm, and the mindset shift that will help you publish with confidence. I'm going to show you 5 things. I'll start with some pointers for those who are already creating content, and I'll end with the how for those who are starting on their content journey. Already comfortable creating video content on other platforms, this is going to be too easy. LinkedIn is moving away from this stiff and snooty place and providing more creative solutions for people on the platform. The great advantage of LinkedIn is that people are in business mode. So pitching your solution isn't offensive to those trying to be social as it is on other platforms. So if you've been on LinkedIn lately, you've noticed the video content in a Reels format. I always say use the format that the platform is promoting. Align with their business goals. Why make it harder for yourself? If that's what they're promoting, do more of that because obviously you get more reach that way. And why this is great? If you're already creating shorts or IG Reels or TikTok Reels, this is just additional distribution. And unlike the other platforms where the creators are quite sophisticated, this isn't the same on LinkedIn. You don't need to have a crazy edited video with multiple cuts to keep people's attention. You need, of course, to do the basics that you've learned from other platforms. Have a clear hook, grab their interest in the first few seconds, and have 1 to 3 points, not more than that, that you want to share. You want to keep the video fairly short and easy to digest, just like you would on any other platform, and then have a clear call to action. I'd suggest creating a series of video posts that lead to a bold CTA. So if you gave 1 point in this video, and then as the call to action, you'd say, I talk about the next point that you need in my next video. And then you could have a series of videos that someone would follow. And at the end, have a bold CTA. If you think about the CTA as a small little action that isn't asking much, but if the person is interested, they'll take that next step. And if they've taken all the tiny little steps that you've asked them to take and are still interested, I think you've earned your way into a bigger, bolder call to action that you can ask them to take at the end. This works really well for several reasons. One, if they like the video and want to know what the next video is about, they're going to go to your profile. And of course, your profile on LinkedIn is basically your sales pitch. Your profile should not only give you credibility, it should also be a way of someone finding out more about your products and how they can work with you, as well as finding out a little bit more about you. The goal is always to have someone go to your profile. The second point is super juicy. For those who don't want to be on camera, articles and newsletters perform really well on LinkedIn. I would say comparatively or even better than videos, because the LinkedIn algorithm loves a well-researched article, something where you're referencing sources that are reputable. And it's a space where people love a good, quick read. I think people scroll LinkedIn while they're at work and they love to have something that they can turn their minds away from their work, but at the same time, not be on Instagram or TikTok. Somewhere where they can get a really quick and interesting read. I'd say if you can create a targeted newsletter that provides insights that a person would look forward to. For example, I remember seeing a newsletter about Nigerian stock market updates. It's something that I haven't seen on other platforms. It's something that would be interesting to me because I don't know of any mainstream publication that provides that. I'm sure they're there. I just don't know about them. But the fact that I came across this on LinkedIn and I saw the person has a journalistic background, I said, hey, I'm in for Nigerian market updates. And it just proves that the articles in the newsletter is such an underutilized feature. You could have a newsletter, everything from like parenthood for busy working professionals. Hello, professionals platform. If you can be specific about what the benefit is of your newsletter, even better. I think of something like science-backed ways to quickly connect with your child daily in under 30 minutes. I can imagine a lot of people on LinkedIn raising their hands for that. It's specific, there's value, you've targeted that market of busy professionals, and I think that would do really well. There's so many creative ways to use these tools. So be creative and do something different that would really stand out. For example, if you have, let's say, a magazine idea, you could create a core framework that's easy to digest and full of entertaining and educational information. That would be a fantastic newsletter. If you're clear on the core audience and what they would gain, why not? I'd hit subscribe to that. If you're not big on video and you're not big on writing articles, you could also create short tweet-like posts with an image or no image. You can get to the point and leave it at that. And I think people will appreciate that. There's a sense of integrity for someone who doesn't fluff around for paragraphs. It shows that you value the reader's time. Remember, all of this is part of creating a personal brand and is a reflection of who you are as a person. So simply pick what works for you. If you love presentations, go for the video. If you love to research and write, go for the articles. If you're a person who wants to get to the point and share what you have to say, do the tweet-like format. Share a tweet on LinkedIn, for lack of a better word. Whichever format you use, try a different style of writing, try a different hook, try a different image, try a different image style, try a different video format, try a PDF carousel that tells a story. Don't get attached to a format and don't get attached to vanity metrics. Be attached to sharing value. I'd say that is the one thing that if you get nothing else from this, remember, be attached to sharing value. The most interesting thing about LinkedIn is that all the action is happening in the comments and in the DMs. People are there to network. Every time you comment on something, other people read that comment, which is why people don't comment that much on LinkedIn. Your network can't see what you said. Other platforms have that environment where people tend to write nasty things and leave negative comments because other people that they know don't get to see what they say on the internet. Whereas on LinkedIn, when you write a comment, other people can read that comment. And so sometimes simply because not everyone wants their boss or their colleagues seeing their outside work interests and outside work kind of conversations, people don't comment as freely. Like I said, even if people don't comment, rest assured they've seen your content. And over time, it will be clear if you're reaching your ideal client profile because you can see who's viewed your profile. So if your content is for founders, you'll be able to see, are there more founders reading my content? If your content is for salespeople, you'll be able to see, are there more salespeople reading my content? LinkedIn is one of the more transparent platforms. So based on that, a quick tip, be aware that your commenting is a way for people to see how you think. Every time you comment on something, people can read it. They can see how you engage with interesting information, how you engage with people you know. Remember, this is about creating a personal brand. A little bonus here is these platforms are great for creating a minimal viable product for thought leadership. Don't go and create a magazine. Create an article on LinkedIn. Don't go and write a book right away. Create a newsletter. Create a series of posts about the topic you want to write a book on. This is a phenomenal testing ground where you can get an understanding of what the people who would be interested in what you sell, what are they talking about? Who are they? That advice about picking an avatar is tricky. Yes, if you've got a proven model with some data and feedback, go ahead and pick an avatar with certainty. But if you're just starting, you don't know who would value what you're creating the most. You have a hypothesis, and you need to test to see if your hypothesis is true. You get that validation from the data and the analytics of your content. So you actually have to create a substantial amount of intentional content in order for you to have enough data that you can say, this is what the data is saying. Now, I know a lot of people tend to be LinkedIn scared. I was too. And I would say just rip the Band-Aid off. I know from experience, there's a fear of judgment that exists in LinkedIn, like people you know in a professional capacity are connected with you. But I assure you, they do not care what you're up to. And you're not creating content for your colleagues. You're creating content for your ideal client profile. So don't worry about them. They're not worried about you. Rip that Band-Aid off and press publish. In the beginning, your content is going to be bad. It's going to be your best output, but it's probably going to not be good. It won't nearly be as bad as when I started creating content because now we have AI. You can use AI to improve your flow. You can use AI to improve the clarity of what you're saying. But do not use it to write everything. Do not use AI to write everything. It puts people off because now people have a sense of what is AI generated content from just looking at it. And people are looking for information that is written by a person. They want information that tells a story, that's about an actual experience, that's not about AI putting together some data on something. Some quick tips on LinkedIn. The personal profile on LinkedIn does way better than a company profile does. If you're listening and you're like me, who didn't want to have a personal brand or who didn't want to have to put myself out there. But the reality is that the personal brand profile does 20x what a company profile does. Mind you, I do have both. The other thing is content on LinkedIn can last up to 2 to 3 weeks and still be resurfacing as organic content. Hello, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, X. When you put your content on LinkedIn, you know that the time you've put into it, for at least 2 or 3 weeks, that content is surfacing as organic content. That's a win for me. Here's the litmus test that I learned from Steve Bartlett of Diary of a CEO. When you're putting out content, if someone who doesn't know who you are at all came across your content, would they value it? If the answer is yes, you're doing awesome. Keep going. It doesn't matter if it's not pristine. You're starting. This is a journey. The more content you create, the better it would get. But if the value is there, that's great content. The other thing that I know trips people up a lot is that we underestimate how much promoting through our content we need to do to really get visible. I remember going on a 10x challenge some years ago and Grant Cardone saying, spend 60% of your time promoting. And I didn't get it at that time. And then I fell into the whole, people feel like they're constantly creating content. And there are systems you can put so that you don't spend all your time creating content. But you do want to make sure that there's distribution. And you want to make sure that you're really promoting the work that you do. Because all the people that we know, you and I, all the people that we know on social, either they put millions of dollars behind their content. Yes, there are people who have put millions of dollars behind their content, and as a result, we all know them. Or they've spent a lot of time. They have spent years. If you scroll down to their first post, you will be able to see that they've been doing this for a decade. And that's why you know who they are. So don't do a little bit and then stop. Don't promote and then get discouraged that no one can see your post. Remember, the more content you create, the better you get at creating content. So all the people we see who create phenomenal content have created enough content for them to get phenomenal. So we can't expect to have great content without going through that process. Respect process. It's going to take time and practice and consistency and leveling up to create better and better content, which is the goal. The golden rule of creating content for me is that we don't want to burn out. Create a sustainable and strategic rhythm for creating content. Reap the compounding benefits of continually putting out content. Oh, and be sure that your profile is on creator mode. If this is your first time doing that, it will give you access to all these tools. Take these 5 tips, start creating on LinkedIn with confidence. If you're planning to go on LinkedIn, put out your work and hit publish, comment, I'm going to rip that Band-Aid off today. I'm excited for everyone to do that. This is a space that is really exciting. And if we can bring some creativity to how we do it, it's easier to stand out on this platform. I'm certain of that. And I wish you the best. If you've enjoyed this video, watch some of my other videos about marketing and creating marketing shifts. Thank you for watching and see you next time.